Joining me now from Washington, D.C. is William Lawrence. He's a professor of political science at the American University. William, always good to have you on the show. Okay, so President Zelensky said that if the Kremlin presses ahead with this annexation, that any negotiation would be impossible. I get that. The West is pretty much singing a similar tune, but I'm wondering if this puts the U.S. and the Europeans in a position that they have to get serious about negotiating some sort of compromise settlement.
Well, all wars end in negotiations. So Zelensky's wrong on that point. And the West has decided to collectively back Zelensky, including the recalcitrant partners in the EU and NATO, to as far as the Ukrainians are willing to take this. But what's been relatively clear since the beginning, and this has unfolded, is that Ukraine won't be able to go all the way to recapturing all of its territory without a long, protracted war that basically grinds Russia down to a level much lower than what it's at now. And Russia won't be able to go a lot longer, unless it does this massive mobilization. And then we're talking about a grinding war where it's unable to take over all of Ukraine. So we will eventually get to negotiations. The question is under what conditions, with which side giving up which of its claimed territory, and how that unfolds. And it would probably look a lot like the negotiations we've had so far, the Turkey brokered ones, whether about moving grain or repatriating mariners or all of the other things that have been cooperated on, the nuclear issue so far. So far so bad in terms of the war coming
Mhm.
to an end. But I would point out that none of the four territories that Russia's annexing it fully controls. In fact, it's losing inches on the ground day by day within those four territories. So the annexation is just that. It's a claim. It's a flag planted in the ground rather than a final result.
You mentioned the nuclear issue, so I do want to ask you about that. I mean, the foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, said last weekend that, once the Russian flag flies over these areas, they will qualify for the same level of protection as any part of the Russian Federation. How real do you think is the use of tactical nuclear weapons against something that the Russians could see as a threat?
Well, as you know, it's part of Russian military doctrine. It's always there. I think the biggest reason why the former head of the CIA, Brennan, is right that Putin will probably not ever deploy nuclear weapons in this conflict is the blowback he gets within Russia and among his allies with the nuclear fallout and everything that ensues. And he will probably draw European countries actively into the conflict. And in that case, he'll really lose more territory and lose more badly. So it is exactly what Putin said it wasn't. It's a bluff. It's a ruse. It's nuclear blackmail. And I think it's going to, certainly have a strategic import. But I don't think that nuclear weapons should be deployed. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take Putin's threats seriously. But again, like in any war where you would deploy that type of catastrophic weapon, the effect of deploying it hurts you as much as it hurts the other person.
Yeah, okay. Professor William Lawrence, always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.